Hey, everybody. I'm Jesse, and welcome to another edition of Gen X Thinks Live. And we've already got Larry Johnson and LJ here with us today. What's up, Larry? What's up, LJ? Glad to see y'all here. And Val Kilmer, he's, kind of the interesting thing that happened is that he passed on last week. And that makes me think of mortality. And us as Gen Xers, we're getting up in age and we start thinking about that, right? I mean, I don't know about y'all, but for me, in my younger days, I mean, it never crossed my mind. I never thought about that shit. Not ever. It didn't even register. It wasn't even on my radar. I just never thought about it. But now, as I'm getting up in age and I think more about it, when somebody like that passes, I kind of feel it's going to sound weird, but I kind of feel good for them in a way because now, Val Kilmer, now he knows the truth, right? There's no more wondering, no more, he doesn't have to have faith anymore. He doesn't have to believe. He knows. Val Kilmer knows now what the hell is going on, what it's all about. He knows. And that's kind of, I don't know. You get kind of uh, view of it. It sounds kind of nihilistic stuff, but honestly, if you really think about it, and not in a nihilistic way, in a good way, I mean, it's something to look forward to. I mean, it's finally finding the answers. We'll finally know. So I don't know. It's kind of maybe that's the silver lining. Maybe looking on the bright side of things. If you can find a bright side of death, I think that would be it. But yeah, Bucky, Lone Wolf Prepper, there you are, buddy. I knew you was gonna be here. Vintage, evening, Vintage. It's 4 o'clock in the morning, Vintage. You're on the wrong side of the planet. I forget. I give Vintage a hard time. He's in Australia over there, and the time is completely different for him. We gotta love our Australian buddies over there. How y'all doing? Yeah, LJ, moving on to the next part of his journey. Thank you, Lone Wolf. Hit that like button if y'all would. I appreciate it. Jeff Seven, what's going on, buddy? Glad to see you here, man. Glad to see all y'all. This is cool. I like doing this live stream. It's enjoyable. It's 9 in the morning over there, Lone Wolf. So what? That's about 5 hours difference. Okay. Oh yeah, over there with Laic. I think he's 6 hours difference in Norway, if I remember correctly. We talked about it. But yeah, old Val Kilmer, he made some good movies in his earlier days. I didn't watch much of what he did later on, but he made some good movies in his earlier days. One of my favorites is Willow. I just watched it yesterday or the day before. I love that movie. Mad Mardigan, you are great. Yeah, that's one of my favorite movies. Oh, LJ. Oh, all right. No, I'm not sure that we'll have to figure that out. So, but yeah, on the thing about mortality, um, I don't know, Gen Xers, what do you think that all young people just don't think about it very much? Or or is it more pronounced in Gen X, you know what I mean? Excuse me. Because I know we did so much crazy shit when we were younger, and the thought of death or mortality never crossed our minds. Oh, yeah, vintage, yeah. He was straight to DVD for a while. He made, I think, it was about 4, and his most iconic role was that one in Tombstone where he played Doc Holliday, and that was just a badass role. He was awesome in there. Okay, Larry. Yeah. Yeah, Lone Wolf, I agree. Yeah, we gotta live now. There's a balance there. You're supposed to live now and live in the moment and enjoy yourself, but you still gotta pay the bills and shit. You can't, you know, it'll be all great living now and having fun now, but then if you did that too much, then you'd end up living under a bridge because you don't pay your bills, you know what I mean? So we've gotta find a balance there with making money and providing, but also trying to enjoy this life a little bit. Try not to struggle just so damn much. We've got enough to struggle around without worrying about money constantly, you know what I mean? Money is like 90% of our stress is just revolves around money, the lack of it or whatever, people trying to take it from us if we do have a little. It's insane. And like I've said before, people, I don't know, people misunderstand me when I say this, but there's no real intrinsic, inherent value in money. The only value money has is what is in our minds, which what, you know, you could come offer me $1,000,000 for a bag of dog shit, and I say no. I like my bag of dog shit. That money, your $1,000,000 would have no value to me. I would say no. I'm not I that's I misspoke there. I wouldn't say no because it's all in my head. I could very well just say no. No, on it. So it's all in our heads, and that's how we're manipulated and controlled with through the stock market and the bank and our all this inflation and all this shit, you know what I mean? And the next hot item that 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 comes out, the hottest, latest iPhone and all this shit, you know what I mean? So, yeah, that whole thing, and that's where most of our stress comes from, is just acquiring and trying to save money, and in honest truth, it's nothing. It's just vapor. It's just an idea, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? I don't know if I'm getting my point across right or not, but it's not food. You use it to get food, but it's not the food. It's not real. You can't eat that shit. You can't garden. You can't do anything with it except give it to somebody else. And they have to find some value in it. And one way I learned that was when I was stationed in Korea back in '91. We went over there, and back then, now I don't know what it is now, but back then, I think it was 1,400 their won to one of our dollars, right? And so, you know, we had dollars in our pocket. We were on a military base. We had dollars in our pocket, and we'd have to go exchange it for their won so we could go to their stores and buy shit. And they, you know, you go to the exchange place or whatever, and you give them bucks or whatever, and they would hand you these 10,000 won notes, all these big nations, and you're looking at it, and literally you give them a $20 bill, they give you a stack of shit like this, and it's all 10,000 notes and shit. And you're like, what the hell? What is this shit? And so you go spend it, and you still got a big old stack like this, you know, but it's only like $1.50 or something. And you got, you know, and at the end of the night, and you're half drunk, and you got a train ride back and all that shit, you just throw that shit away. I'm not messing with that shit. I'm not gonna be back here for 6 months or a year or never. So you know, you just throw that shit away. So American GIs over there valued their money like like just like monopoly money, like it was just fake play shit. It was nothing to us. We just throw that shit away, literally, just throw it in the garbage. I'm whatever. So that tells you where that's where I get this idea that the value of money is in our heads. It's not real. You know what I mean? So yeah, they valued their money and they were used to spending it and shit. But us Americans, we just I don't want to even mess with that shit. It's meaningless. Now our dollars meant something to us, but their money was just, their money, their yuan meant something to them. They found value in it. Yeah. And yeah, lone wolf. And speaking of preparedness, the skills we acquire, the knowledge and skills, I think, are the most valuable. Maybe the most valuable thing on the planet, the knowledge and skills to acquire what we need to survive, maybe even more important than the things we need to survive, you know what I mean? Because you go to the store and you get some shit. What if the store closes down? What if, something happens and there aren't any stores? There's a blackout or something. Now that knowledge and skill is what's valuable. That's the only thing left that you have. So when it comes all the way down to it, when you boil it and you take it down to the bone, it's knowledge and skill that the only thing that has real value. Yeah, yeah. LJ, that's fiat currency. Rusty dude, what's up, buddy? Glad to see you here. Yeah, that's awesome, vintage. You got a good head on your shoulders. Yeah. Yeah, get no debt and don't chase the newest, hottest whatever item is being thrown at us and just uh you have get control of your own life. Yeah, that should be everyone's goal, vintage, in my opinion. Yeah, lone wolf. Yeah, exactly. And that's how it was during the depression. They'd have, wheelbarrows full of cash and it would be meaningless because nobody wanted it. Nobody gave a shit about it. So you could buy a loaf of bread with a wheelbarrow full of cash. And that's exactly my point. I mean that it's all in our heads. People were burning stacks of cash to stay warm back then. So it just it's all a big tool of manipulation and a big Ponzi scheme monopoly game that they play. And I am convinced that at the very top of the banking system, those people they don't even view money the same way we do. They view it like a leash, like your dog's leash or something, right? Like we view a dog's leash. They don't, we don't love our dog's leash and we don't go to work, 8 hours a day for our dog's leash like we do money, but that's how they see it. It's just a means of control. They just whatever. They don't go spend money. They just, tell their assistant or whatever or whoever is working for them, hey, that that Mercedes SL2 million is I don't like that color. Get a different color. I don't like that one. And then a couple days later, the Mercedes would be a different color. They don't, whip out a credit card or anything and do shit. They just tell people what they want and it appears. Yeah, lone wolf, knowledge is power. Yeah, Bucky, that's one thing. If shit goes sideways, and you don't even have to look at like a post-apocalyptic Mad Max scenario or something like that. You can just look at recent history, the Great Depression. All right. During the Great Depression, there were certain skills that would keep you alive. There were you if people with certain skills were in demand and you could because money was meaningless, you could barter those skills for resources. If some farmer, had a milk cow or whatever, and you knew how to, you were a veterinarian, say, you could go out and trade your veterinary knowledge and skills for some milk, and milk would keep your family alive. Those dollars wouldn't. So that kind of thing. And there's just so many examples of different kind of skills like that that were valuable during the Great Depression, and people bartered like that. People bartered back and forth with skills and experience because they were so much more valuable than any, even if you gave somebody a brick of gold at the height of the Depression, you gave somebody a brick of gold, they'd be like, "Oh, great." And, what are they going to do with it? Go trade it for a wheelbarrow full of money that nobody wants? They'd have a brick of gold. You can't eat it. You can't build a home out of it. You can't do anything with it. I mean, maybe you could have gone somewhere and bought a piece of land or something, traded the gold directly for the land, but you couldn't. Yeah, just though in that scenario, skills and knowledge were much more valuable in immediate exchange than even gold or especially money. So yeah, that kind of stuff that's stuff that people forget about. It's stuff that people overlook. And we're always, I mean, always just a few months away from economic devastation. Look at 2009 when that happened back then. I mean, shit, we were doing okay. Everything was fine, and it seemed like overnight the shit collapsed. We had millions of homes vacant that were foreclosed on in just like 6 months here in the U.S. It was crazy. That shit happened overnight. We completely blindsided. Most people were completely blindsided by it. Oh yeah, yeah, Larry. The Yeah, technology won't mean shit. People will be just, your cell phone battery will die and you'll lug it around for a few weeks and then you finally get tired of that $1,500 cell phone and just throw it in the ditch because you're tired of carrying it around. You know what I mean? It's just it's that kind of shit. When shit hits the fan, it everything is going to change. The veil will be lowered from everyone's eyes. The curtain will be drawn back, and like I said earlier, it's not that's not necessarily an apocalyptic asteroid zombie scenario. That's just another Great Depression. That's just, and that's enough to be really bad. But I just firmly believe that these cycles and the cycles within cycles, that sometimes they line up. Sometimes the bigger time cycle of the era coincides with smaller time cycles, and then you get a big one, right? You get a big reset. You get resets all the time, like the Great Depression was a reset. But sometimes the bigger cycle lines up with the smaller cycle, and you get a hard reset for humanity, not just for, Western civilization or whatever, or a country. You get a hard reset for humanity. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's awesome, getting off the grid. Yeah, and that's one thing, all this you get all these new, younger progressives, and they're all about the green stuff, right? And and solar power and all this stuff. Well, I really attracted to the thought of solar power and getting off the grid for a completely different reason, just to be unchained from the electric company and the gas station. I would love to have like a couple of cyber trucks and complete solar setup, and you know what I mean? I'd paint them cyber trucks camouflage, and I'd be out in the woods with a big solar array and nobody could find me ever. Maybe some AI drones would be able to infrared me out, but it would be tough for anybody else. But yeah, yeah, I would, especially down here in Florida, we get a lot of sunshine, so you can easily power a home fully with solar power if you get, if you get the good panels and all that stuff, which is not an easy thing to do. I just read an article that the solar panels are actually going down compared to what the what the manufacturers are reporting, what they're selling us. Like they sell us that it'll get whatever kilowatts. Well, that's getting let. There's a bigger gap between what they're saying they do and what they actually do. Where 10, 15 years ago, it was the solar panels put out what they said they put out. Now they don't. That's going like this. Yeah, and it's getting worse every year, I guess. They're just lying worse and worse to us. Oh, yeah, the grid and I don't know, yeah, what is the laws over there, Lone Wolf, as far as, air-powered marksmanship? They, but that going back to that thing about the reset, I believe there are smaller resets, and calling the Great Depression a small reset is, kind of a that's downplaying the Great Depression, but in the overall arc of human history, it was rather a small event. So I tend to look at things in a broader thing. I try to pull my mind back and look at humanity and the course of human history in one, from a distant point of view instead of zooming in, and because I think that's a lot of what the stress that we have, that I have anyway, is from just being in my tiny little peeping through my tiny little keyhole at the world and seeing how horrifying everything is. But when you pull back and you see and you look at things from a different perspective, not making shit up and fantasizing and shit, just pulling back and looking at things from a different perspective, and you see that the Great Depression was not that big a deal when you look at the overall history of humanity, and even some of our great big wars and stuff, they were small. I mean, Genghis Khan killed like 10% of the planet. That was that was insane. I'm telling you, he killed 10% of human beings on the planet at the time. The dude, that was a war. That was a slaughter. Yeah. So when you look at that and you compare that stuff to the other things that we think that we're taught are horrifying and stuff, and you just compare them, then you see that okay, yeah, that was bad, but it wasn't the worst. You know what I mean? Genghis Khan outdid that shit. Genghis Khan, and that's just in in our short history that we have, not taking in the whole history of the planet. So yeah, there's everything has to be put in perspective and looked at it as from a whole, not as, through the keyhole. Oh yeah, Larry. The Been an economic downturn because of the central bank Oh, yeah, all of these issues, 90% of these issues are man-made, Larry says. I would say all of them. I don't all economic issues are man-made. We made economics. Without that, there's no issues. You know what I'm saying? And all of these things are manipulated. I know that a lot of people like to argue with me about how badly we need the stock market and shit. We do not. We just don't. We don't. You could erase that thing. Yeah, there would be some turmoil but we don't need it. That's just a way of manipulation. So big rich companies and firms and stuff can go in and buy up a bunch of stock in a company and then control it. That's just like, taking the steering wheel and grabbing the steering wheel out of somebody's hand. And now you're controlling the car. That's all that is. If you look up the stats, like, I don't know, the common people, just individual people in the stock market who own the stock are like only 6% of stock are owned by individuals like you and me. Though all 94% of that shit is owned by huge corporations. So yeah, I would say honestly, one of the best things we could do for humanity is to get rid of the stock market. Yeah, that sounds like a big crazy thing, but big crazy things change the world for the better. That's the only thing that changes the world for the better are big crazy things. So I would if I was in charge, I'd axe that stock market. I'd chop that shit up and throw it in the garbage. There would be no more stock. If if Microsoft cannot compete without an influx of cash from the stock market, then they need to go down. That is capitalism. That is free market. This thing where you can get an injection of cash through the stock market to keep your company afloat when the free market, capitalism, and the people who are supposed to be buying your shit are all rejecting your shit. They're not spending the money on your shit. That means you don't need to be there. Your company needs to go away, whether you're AT&T or Chevy or Walmart or whatever. So this stock market shit that's a big old scheme that's been pulled over on us. And we're all, we watch the stock market. Oh, the Dow Jones Industrial Average is down 100 points and it's chaos. The sky is falling. Chicken Little, we're all going to die. No, let it fall to zero and get it the hell out of here. And let us have a world where we're not being manipulated by these huge corporations, buying up other huge corporations and then selling us bullshit we don't want. So and video games is a perfect example of that. Microsoft is in buying up these huge, just billions upon billions of dollar video game corporations, just buying them, scooping them up like they're just ice cream sandwiches or something, right? And now video games are going downhill. They're just because they're not making the video games that people want. But we don't have a choice. If you want to play video games, you play a Microsoft video game because they're the only game in town, literally. So, and all these video game developers, the owners of these companies that Microsoft bought, they're all jumping ship and starting their own thing again. So maybe in 10 years, we might have some good video games again, but we'll see. Yeah, it's all a big scheme. It's all a big lie. It's all about manipulation and control. And it all works in together. The big banks, the stock market, the corporations buying into each other, and all of them flood our government with lobbying money to get the laws and the regulations balanced in their favor. R. Snyder, time to go extinct. Hey, how y'all doing? Yeah, buying crap online. It just yeah, that it's crazy. And literally it's just propaganda, it's brainwashing, it's programming to make it's normalizing, right? They're normalizing this shit and making us think this is normal. This absurd crazy shit seems normal to us. Now our founding fathers, back when shit was normal, they would look at us and think we were absolutely nuts. Why are y'all allowing this, stock market shit? What are y'all doing? That's absurd. Do you know how great it would be if y'all just got rid of that shit? How easy your lives would be? How much easier if you would just not do that? Just don't do it. So, yeah, it, but it's normalization. Even the most absurd, crazy shit can feel normal to you after a while, right? And seem normal. And then basic good things, normal things will seem crazy. Oh, that's insane. That's abnormal because crazy seems normal to me now. All this manipulation and taxing the shit out of us and taxing us to death and raising the rates for everything and dropping the value of our money and all this manipulation, all this shit, that seems normal to us because it's been going on our whole lives when all of it is unnecessary, every single bit of it. Yeah. Yeah, vintage. Yeah, you lose money. I mean, when there are better ways to do that, vintage, your money could have appreciated in better ways instead of that. They could have a thing investing 401ks in land or gold or something real, not this weird uh digital stock shit. You know what I mean? This is just stuff that's been made up. That's not real. That's not the company. That's not what the company produces. This is just uh, intangible bullshit online and in so yeah, I just don't, I know there's a better way and I just wish they'd do it. Yeah, Larry, I'm the same way. That's one reason when I say shit like that, I grew up poor and I never really bought into any of this stuff. And and then when I say stuff like that, people think I sound nuts. People think I'm crazy. You can't get rid of the stock market. Well, you can, and I believe you should. I believe after, in 10 years that you would look back and say, that's holy shit, that's the greatest thing we have ever done for humanity. My life is so much better. Now I've invested my money instead of stocks. I've invested it in real things, in stuff that matters, like, food, water, land, gold, silver, these tangible things. No, thanks, Lone Wolf. Yeah. Yeah. I'm actually my American flag, I'm debating on changing that because not because I'm not a patriot, of course. Any of y'all that have been following me for a while know I love my country and all of Western civilization. Hell, I love England and Australia. Hell, I even love Canada. Shit, I ain't gonna lie. Canada's great. But yeah, Norway, Germany, all Western civilization. We've got so much great history. Uh, Greece, Italy, that we're awesome. But anyway, my flag back here, I've got to take it down to do my regular videos because my green screen is behind it, and it's difficult because I can't let it touch the ground. I cannot. I mean, I'll let my blood touch the ground before I let the flag touch the ground. That's just, being a veteran and stuff. So I can't do that. So it's a real pain in the ass taking that thing down and putting it back up. So I'm considering changing it. I don't know if I will or not, but it's crossed my mind just to make it easier on me. Oh yeah, Snyder. Yeah, I love the mom and pop bait shops, tackle and stuff. Yeah, I love going in those places. Just a bait shop. You just it's just awesome. Yeah, I don't like going to the big box stores either, or online. You can't really see the size of the thing online, and feel the texture of it and all that stuff. That stuff is important in fish and tackle, and I want to do that. I go shopping. I mean, I do order shit online. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to act like a some kind of saint here or something, but I still enjoy going to the store and buying the stuff physically, trying on my boots, feeling the texture of the tackle, the rubber worm, and that kind of stuff. And I just enjoy that, and I'll go out of my way to do that if I can. If I haven't worked all day, but then you gotta take into consideration the convenience. I'm out there digging a footer, and it's hard clay down there after about 8 inches, so I've gotta get a pick and pick it out, and after doing that all day, I come home and I don't wanna get up and drive somewhere else to do something, so I'll order that shit online. So I'm not I'm not perfect in that regard, but still, I still enjoy going to the store when I can. Yeah, Larry, this is Gen X thinks we're building a community here, man, and a good one. We got some awesome people here that contribute some great thoughts and ideas. That's the thing about Gen X thinks. And I have to repeat this kind of often, I guess, but I'm not trying to convince people of anything. I'm just presenting my ideas and hoping to get an argument back. I want you to tell me, "Hey, you're wrong, Jesse. This shit, you need to check this out, dude. You've been, because I want the truth. I want to know the truth. I want to learn the truth." So, and a lot of this stuff is the truth is like a gray fog. We're kind of, we're looking for it and nobody really knows. I mean, literally, I I sound crazy when I say this shit, but I don't believe anything. Not 100% like I know this as a fact. I don't know when I was born. All I know is what people have told me. Somebody told me I was born in 1971. That's what I know, that somebody told me that. Was I born in 1971? I believe I was. I believe they were telling me the truth. But I don't know that for a fact because I wasn't sitting there watching myself come out on that day and, and checking the calendar and shit. So no, I don't know. I know it sounds crazy, but that's where I am in my head now. I don't if unless I've experienced it in with my own senses and done it in my own life, then I don't believe that shit. Is the earth a globe? I believe so. Do I know it as a fact? No, I don't. I don't. So I completely sympathize with the flat earthers. Do I believe that the earth is flat? No. Do I know it's not flat? No, I don't. Shit, it could be flat. Maybe there's a dome up there and the moon is just a projection or some shit. I don't know. I've never bumped my head on the dome. I've never flown to the moon either, so I don't know for sure. But so you've got to pick a belief that you're most comfortable with, that your common sense tells you, hey, the earth is a globe or the earth is flat, whichever one makes most sense in your head. And that's where we're at. So, yeah, I'm not up here trying to argue and convince you that the earth is a globe. I'm just telling you that's what I think. That's what I believe. You know, it could be flat. Shit, I don't know. Yeah, lone wolf. I'm there with you on the cryptocurrency. I don't want to badmouth anything because people have made money with that shit or whatever. I get it, but to me personally, again, this is the thing with this. I'm not trying to convince anybody of anything. I'm just talking about my personal opinions. Anything that someone else controls, I can't put my complete faith in it. Somebody could throw a switch on Bitcoin and it's done. It's gone. They could delete it. And somebody will jump up and tell me, "Oh, you can't do that." Yeah, you can. They can shut down the internet. They can shut down Bitcoin. If they can shut down the whole internet, then they can shut down Bitcoin. They can shut down anything on the internet, anytime, anywhere. It's just that no, I don't. It's a gamble, just like the stock market. You put your money in there, it goes up or it goes down. Yeah, if it goes up, good. Hey, if you like gambling, hey, all more power to you. But if the money is not in my hand, then I don't own it. I don't. It's not really mine. They can do that to my bank account because that currency is online. They don't have my dollars in that safe right there. That's just fictional shit online. It's just digits, dots on a screen. They can change that, manipulate that, turn it off anytime they want. So yeah, I'm not into the whole cryptocurrency thing. It might be a great thing for a lot of people, just not me. Yeah, lone wolf. Yeah, yeah, we can't let it touch the ground. Yeah, yeah, vintage. Well, yeah, I'll make it short today. What time is it? Speaking of that, okay. Got about another 20 minutes. I'll make it short today. The footing is right up against the edge of the ditch, and for the tractor to get in there, it's too close. They'd have to dig it at an angle. So, and we didn't want to dig the whole pad out, 5 feet wider on each side so that the tractor could get in there, so that the excavator could get in there. So it's being done. That's why I'm doing it by hand. There's just not enough room in there for the excavator. Alex K, good morning, buddy. How you doing, man? Glad to see you here. All right. Yeah, Snyder. You live right up north, huh? Mike Fleisner, good to see you here, buddy. Hey, glad you're here, Mike. Yeah. So anyway, the I'm digging that pad out there by hand, or digging the footer anyway. And I got to dig down. And when was it? The other day, I dug down through the sand. And here in Florida, digging is pretty easy for the most part. You dig through sand, but I dug down about 8 inches and I hit hard clay. And digging through that shit, it's packed and hard and damn ankle breaking. So I got to get a pick and go back out there. But I'll make a video of that today and post it this afternoon before I uh, before I go to bed, so y'all can see what I'm talking about. A short video, one of those shorts. St. Clair River, huh, Snyder? No, I don't claim to love every individual Canadian or German or whatever, but yeah, I love the Patriots and their country, their history, the country West. We've got so much awesome history with the Vikings and the Spartan movies and stuff out of all that. Even the wars we fought against each other, World War One and World War Two and all that. That's all part of our history. Even the bad stuff is awesome in some ways. A lot of heroism and patriotism came from those bad times. So, and like I say, I tend to pull back and look at things from a more distant point of view. So I try to anyway. I'm not always successful. Sometimes I get wrapped up in the here and now and how tough my life is. It's so hard. Y'all don't understand how hard Jesse has it. Yeah, I've heard, yeah, that's all I hear online is how y'all hate Trudeau and Starmer. Yeah, and I'm sure y'all heard it. You're probably hearing it now. Here, you probably heard it about Biden from our side or ours and theirs or whatever sides and all this shit. That's all. I could get into that stuff and go off the rails on that stuff, just like I did on the monetary system. But this whole over here in the U.S., we got the Democrats versus the Republicans and all this shit, and that's just another means of control, in my opinion. Yeah, Larry, love the country, not the rulers, and that's the thing that I think a lot of people misunderstand. The England isn't the king and the queen and Starmer and all that stuff. England is the people of England. Canada isn't Trudeau and his administration and his all that the government there. Canada is the people of Canada. Canada is the Canadians. The United States are Americans, not Trump and Vance and all their administration and or the administration before them. We're not our government. We're not our military. We're not Microsoft or Apple or IBM. We're the people. And that is why that it said in the American Constitution, we the people. And that is what the countries are comprised of. That is the country, is we the people of Canada or Norway or Germany or, Australia. It's we the people. But and everybody people seem to get that confused. They talk about America and how much they hate America, but they actually hate the American government because it sucks just as bad as yours does, right? And I know when I think about England, I don't think about I hate English people. I hate the English government and what they're doing to the English people. I hate the Canadian government and what they're doing to the Canadian people. So yeah, I don't see things the same way the vast majority of people see when they think about that, because I think the United States of America is the working people, the soldiers, the miners, the car manufacturers, not the big companies or the government. Yeah, vintage. That's absolutely correct. It only takes a few people in charge to make a country not what it was. Yeah. And it can happen in a very short time, as we have seen just just since what, the 2000 teens, how much has changed in the last 10 years just in the government and the social shit that's been forced upon us, forced into our culture, into our society through our government funding all this shit. Our government funding, have y'all heard that stuff about funding all this trans LGBTQ stuff in Somalia or wherever? Maybe the Somalians are conservative and they don't want that shit. Why are y'all sending, $5 billion over there to inject that shit into the Somalian country or the Venezuelan or Colombian, whatever? I might have the country wrong. I don't know. I'm just talking, but you get my point. So this stuff and all these governments are in league with each other because they're all connected. They're all puppets of this bank, of the this one main bank here, and then the branches of the bank and whatever it's called. I need to look that up. What's the bank in England? What's the bank in Canada, Australia? So I can talk about this more at a more educated level. But every country has that bank, your version of our Federal Reserve. And that is what really woke me up when someone pointed out to me that the Federal Reserve was nothing to do with our government. It's a privately owned bank. And it just blew my mind when I realized that. So, yeah, it's all about control and it's coming down from above and it's being and through the stock market, these companies are being pressured into pushing this stuff, right? And that's just the way it is. Yeah, lone wolf, that's true. Hard times are coming, but like the old saying goes, hard times make strong men. And then we're gonna have to make good times again, and then those good times are gonna make weak men again. That's just the way it goes. Yeah, well, we love England. We our forefathers came over here from England centuries ago, but we're still connected to England, even if it's just in our hearts. Australia too. We share so much culture with Australia and all of them. I mean, I keep saying that stuff, but it's everywhere. Look at how much culture has been shared out of Norway and Sweden. The Vikings. I know they're not technically Vikings, but the Vikings spread their culture throughout Western civilization. So yeah, there's so much of our a lot of our holidays and stuff. Thursday, the names of our days and stuff are harken back to Norse mythology and stuff. So yeah, we share so much that a lot of that's overlooked a lot. We share a lot more than we realize. Yeah, Rusty, I hope you do, man. I hope you do vote in a new government. What did Trudeau? I thought Trudeau just resigned. Did he change his mind on that? I heard he resigned, then I heard he changed his mind and he was going to try to stay in, but I don't know. I don't know which was true. Yeah, true vintage. They're trying it all over Western civilization, trying to uh push out the what do you call it? The natives. Just like they happen, and people wanna say that about, "Oh, America did it to the Native Americans." Yeah, but why make the same mistake? Why let it happen again? That doesn't make sense to me. Yeah, I'm gonna learn from that. I'm not gonna, you know, make that same mistake just for because I feel a certain way or whatever. I'm not gonna just do the same dumb shit. Yeah, I don't want that to happen again. I don't want the natives of America to be pushed out and overridden by these other cultures. I don't want that for England. I want England to stay English. I want Canadians to remain Canadians. I don't want them to be overrun by people from other parts of the world. And I feel that way about every country in Western civilization. I see all this massive, massive immigration and there's no reason for it. Those people, they can be happy in their own country, just as happy as they can in our country. Yeah. Yeah, it's getting bad. But, our governments are doing shit behind the scenes in the shadows to undermine us. They're literally digging a damn hole underneath us, and it's gonna collapse unless we do something to fill it back in again. There's just there's really no question anymore that our governments are doing stuff in our best interest. That's just out the window. They are literally and purposely trying to destroy us. I mean, you think I didn't trust them back in the 90s and the 2000s? Shit, I despise them now. Hopefully Trump, only time's gonna tell, but hopefully Trump will right the ship economically and culturally and all that stuff. We'll see. I'm keeping my damn fingers crossed and hoping the best for all of y'all overseas too and next door. All right, everybody. I hate to cut this off. I could probably go for another couple hours, but I've got to get ready for work. So that's probably how it'll be here for the next couple weeks. Is I'll be I'll be working. Well, for the foreseeable future, I'll be working Saturdays. So we'll do it for about an hour, or maybe give me let me know what y'all think about starting this on at 3 o'clock. It might be too early for a lot of people in the United States, but I know probably y'all from overseas probably wouldn't mind too much if I started an hour earlier. That would give us more time. But I've gotta get going and head to work. Like I said, I'll post a short video of my progress today and show y'all. Then y'all can see why we're not using a machine to dig this footer. All right. Okay. Yeah, that's what I figured. So Larry, yeah, you're just getting up at 3. So, yeah, I'll stick with 4. We'll just do an hour. We'll do an hour and we'll see how that works. Maybe eventually my schedule will change and we can do from like 4 to 6 instead of 4 to 5. That's very possible. Yeah. We got this. Yeah. Alex K, Vintage, Lone Wolf Prepper, Larry Johnson, Rusty Doob, all of y'all. R. Snyder, Bucky, hey, I'm so happy y'all joined me this morning. Got to talk about some stuff, and I love how these live streams go. That we can reminisce about nostalgia in the good old days. Sometimes we'll talk about apocalypse and prepping, and sometimes conspiracy theories, and sometimes we'll get into cultural and social stuff like we did today. So yeah, uh, I like this organic flow of conversation like we have on these live streams. So definitely going to keep doing this every Saturday from now on. So please join every Saturday at 4 a.m. Eastern time, and I'll say goodbye and leave you there with that. As always, stay frosty, Gen X, and I'll see you on the next one.